With Fat 45's coronavirus cover-up, it was all about greed. On Monday night, struggling miserably with his coronavirus infection, Fat 45 bragged that he had triumphed over the virus, which he hasn't. Um, he stood up front and he believes that he led, but he didn't. But the real story of Fat 45's infection is the danger that he covertly posed to others. Despite multiple warning signs, he traveled to Klan rallies and mingled mask-free with donors. He knowingly jeopardized the health of not just of his contributors, but of every employee who had to accompany him, and everyone who had to staff these events. And he did it all for money. On Wednesday, Fat 45 spoke to reporters as he left the White House for a Klan rally. The video shows early hints of his infection. His voice was lower and more strained than it had been during a similar exchange a few days prior. His eyes were puffy and he sounded slightly congested. Nevertheless, he flew to Minneapolis, where he spent an hour hosting the Klan rally that included elderly people at a $200,000 per couple fundraiser in a suburban dining room. From there, Fat 45 flew to Duluth, Minnesota for another Klan rally, and on the way there, Hope Hicks, an aide who had been physically close to the Fat Ass for long periods during that week, felt sick herself. When the plane landed in Duluth, she stayed on board instead of coming out for the Klan rally. However, Fat 45 came out and bellowed to the crowd. His voice was lower and raspier than when he had left the White House. You can hear the difference in the video if you actually watch the video anyway, and I wouldn't waste my time trying to watch the video. And his lethargy had worried some aides. Instead of powering through his usual 90 minutes, he ended his speech at 45 minutes. On the flight, on the flight back to Washington, Hicks isolated herself while other aides conferred about her condition. The next morning, she tested positive for the virus. In response, the White House did what health protocols required. It identified aides who had been physically close to her and barred them from the trip. Scheduled for that afternoon to a fundraiser at Fat 45's golf club in Bedminster, New Jersey, but one person who had been close to Hicks went ahead with the trip anyway, Fat 45 himself. According to Bloomberg News, the Fat Ass was told before departing for the Klan rally that Hicks had tested positive. His behavior was consistent with that report. He steered clear of reporters and assembled for the helicopter takeoff, eschewing his normal back and forth and cutting an unusually wide path, said the article, and he avoided journalists waiting under the wing of Air Force One at Joint Base Andrews and on the flight to New Jersey. Maybe Fat 45 was trying to protect reporters from catching whatever he had, or maybe he was just hiding his symptoms. What's certain is that Fat 45 is facing an expected haul of $5 million, that flew facing an expected haul of $5 million, flew to Bedminster. There, he posed for pictures with high dollar contributors and spoke to an audience of 100 to maybe 200 people, many of them old fucks. He also sat and talked indoors for more than 45 minutes at a rectangular table with about 20 people who had ponied up about $30,000 to $250,000 apiece. At no point did he wear a mask, because why would he? According to CBS News, all participants were required to sign a legal waiver agreeing not to sue if they contracted the COVID-19. Some people who attended the fundraiser say Fat 45 seemed tired. Others disagree. But a video recorded shortly after his return shows unmistakable congestion. Sean Conley, the physician to the Fat Ass, had acknowledged that on the day of the Klan rally, Fat 45 had a mild cough and some nasal congestion and fatigue. Conley says that these clinical indications, along with Hicks's positive test, led White House doctors to test Fat 45 for the virus. In a faux news interview later that evening, Fat 45 told Insanity, "I just went for a test and we'll see what happens. I mean, who knows, but Fat 45 already knew. The test for which he was awaiting results was a PCR test, administered under White House protocol only after a positive result on the customary rapid test." According to the Wall Street Journal, Fat 45 had flunked the rapid test before the interview, and comments from the White House officials matched that report. Fat 45's press secretary, Kayleigh McEnama, also had tested positive. And Conley says doctors repeated testing on Thursday afternoon, and Fat 45's chief of staff, Mark Meadows, says the positive test result Fat 45 announced early Friday morning was a confirmatory test. Fat 45 didn't just deceive and endanger his donors, he deceived and endangered Secret Service agents, people who worked at these Klan rallies, and even his own aides. The Journal reports that he asked one advisor not to He asked one advisor not to disclose results of their own positive test, and the fat ass's exact words, according to the journal source, was "Don't tell anyone." That's consistent with what aides and advisors have said on the record, that despite having been in close contact with Hicks while she was infected, they learned of her positive test from media reports and not from the White House. At least two of these blindsided advisors, campaign manager Bill Stepien and former New Jersey Governor Chris Christie, have since tested positive. So has McEnema, who was sent out to brief reporters on Thursday without a mask and without being told that Hicks, with whom she had traveled for the previous 2 days, had also tested positive. On Thursday night, when Insanity asked about Hicks's positive test, Fat Ass 45 acted as though he hadn't known about it before he went to bed. He claims, "Oh, I just heard about it," but he probably knew before that. Said the Fat Ass. And on Friday, when McEnema was asked why Fat Ass 45 had gone to the Klan rally despite knowing he had been in contact with infected people, she said the trip was deemed safe by White House corporations because it was an outdoor event. No, it wasn't. It wasn't deemed safe. But the donors around the table in Bedminster, like those in the dining room in Minneapolis, faced the squatter indoors. He spoke to them at length, and without a mask and without disclosing the risk that he might be infected. He cared no more about them than he did about the people who brought his food. All he cared about was fucking money, and that was all he fucking cared about. So he was just a greedy fucking bastard, like the story says. So if you like the video, give the video a like and subscribe to my channel, Rambin Mike, and also hit the notification bell so that you'll be notified when a new video comes out. And thanks for listening.